You got two chairs out.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, Wendell, how are you?
Okay. Like, you okay?
Could have used maybe one of those airplanes with a banner that goes out behind it, you know?
To get people here? My daughter uses AI all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And has, she trains all the people to use it.
Yeah.
So. But I thought I wanted to find out more about it.
Well, hopefully I can say something about it.
I trust you, I know you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's live streamed too, so people can see it from home, but I'd like a little bit of an audience if possible.
Yeah. I'm glad I could come.
Me too, otherwise it would have been, you know, I think my boss might even be watching the live stream, so.
Oh, you're live streaming it too?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you know, we'll start kind of on time, but you can see in the screen down there. Oh, I got you some chairs out.
Well, you only want two?
Well, unless more people show
Okay.
up, yeah, so far, this is what you got.
Yeah, good. Thought maybe you had it a long time.
No, a lot of people.
Who they?
Who knows?
My daughter, she's an executive with, it's Steve. And she has a friend that works in Microsoft, pretty high up. And the friend got laid off.
Oh,
So she went out and put in some applications for other jobs, and this one job that she wanted.
yeah.
30,000 people put in applications, and 9,000 of them were people, and the rest were AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, another one. Stuck in.
So I told 3, hey, that's pretty good.
Well, I thought this should be crowded.
Yeah, you know, I had aspirations of a little bit of a crowd too, but we'll give it a couple more minutes. It's also live stream, so. yeah.
Okay, so we're on your schedule.
Yeah, well, 6 is,
6 to 6 in everybody's time zone?
well,
Let
you
me,
know,
let me time is different, I thought.
it's, oh, I hear another person, we'll get it. This should be interesting. Whoa.
Two more.
2 more. Holy cow, I want to be efficient. Only put out the 2.
Expecting a really big crowd, Robert?
Can you tell by the number of chairs how I'm selectively putting them out as people are coming in?
I was expecting to see a repeat on there.
Brandon, how are you? We haven't seen you in a while.
Hawaii.
You know, next year, well, I don't want to get started about next
You
year.
came back, where's the right time?
We're like.
I get to go back
So some people are gonna watch.
January 6th to the 14th.
And you know what, this is, I'll take one
How's your relative doing? Nancy?
Oh,
or.
Nancy's
Oh, I'm
all
okay.
good,
This
because
is
she's
by the
passed away
way.
21st, so we're.
No,
Get up,
sorry.
look around.
Cisco.
Cisco.
Some people spend all
Get the
this
job.
time.
No.
Oh.
Oh, you took it with you?
We took each other, and did our thing. Yeah, all the change in information, it's just, it'll come out weird if I just say, oh, yeah, well, I said I work a big real estate fan in Hawaii. But it'll make sense if you just, like, it's public information now, that's all.
Yeah.
There's potentially still hot coffee over there, but
We closed the door, we just like
it's
decided.
made a little bit earlier. Probably not.
It's
Gotta get some more chairs, at least one more, 'cause I'm sure.
You order, turn off this fan.
Yeah,
It's quite cold air.
that's a fantastic cost expert.
How you doing, Wendell?
Okay, well,
See Bernie Sanders talk on AI?
I did not, should have I?
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
going?
It is. Right.
If you ever want to know.
Well, there you got it.
Yeah, that was sweet. Thanks almost.
Oh, yeah, shut that.
Got one off.
I'll try, it might be still slowing down, I don't know. Those fans have always been a little bit of a mystery.
Hour today.
Sounds like Netflix landing.
You sit here today.
I'm sure I booked one at Las Vegas and schedules things for local times. So I had to figure out what
This is good, I like time.
time is, like 6 p.m.
I know you picked it.
on Monday night.
It's a different day too, right?
Yeah, because it's Tuesday, Chinese Tuesday.
Right.
But again, it's
But it's on somebody else's hand.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about it.
One right here, so.
I did watch it.
How just Mr. McCullough?
Yeah.
Well,
You want to
you call me Ezekiel.
Ooh.
So is it up?
Spiritual, all the above.
I just have the whole thing, I don't think much more.
Like Yaakov, as in Jacob, Genesis,
Yeah.
Israel, all that. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, I did name my son Nathaniel because I found it.
I did last week. So I think.
That was super long. So, yeah, yeah.
Well, we got it.
Right, you guys. I normally bring water balloons to toss.
Nobody got my
Okay, so I don't know that I need an introduction, but I'm Robert Keller. Well, we
Barely
can.
Okay.
I can speak up.
Okay, gotcha.
The heat, until the heat comes up, it's gonna be a little noisy.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes, it'll be quiet.
So I'll make.
We have microphones.
That's all right, I'll just speak up, guys. Okay, so I think you all heard me, I'm Robert Keller. I've been out here about 30 years, and I've always had an interest in computers and technology. And at 63, I'm still, working and learning new things in the IT industry. Currently, I'm a voice over IP engineer, senior voice over IP engineer for Techmetric, a company out of Texas. When people come in, please guide them to go to the back and grab themselves a chair. You guys, all right. Yeah. Hey, you guys.
You're supposed to have it.
I've just gotten to the introduction, but I think you guys know who I am, so. Robert
That's
Keller. Robert Keller, Long Island. A little while now, I think. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we got enough chairs now. I think we do.
We're good enough?
Yeah, I think so. And you guys are gonna get more people come, they're just gonna have to go to the back there.
There's two more, right?
Yeah, see, that's it, we still got a little.
They
room.
can stay, they can stay.
Yeah, they can just. All right, so, anyway, I won't redo the introduction, because this is the third time. So long story short, I kind of watched AI come about for a number of years, probably started working with it, I think 14, 15 years ago, in speech recognition technology, for telephones, of course, And at the time, it was on a chip, right? It was single purpose, and anyway, so that was my introduction to it. And I've played with it ever since. So I thought, well, why not talk about it a little bit? This is my presentation, a 70-year journey. So it's not really new, as I mentioned. It's not a who. Right? It's a just more advanced computing. Right? I mean, it has literally been around for about 70 years. Some people think like Siri or Alexa, they think or feel they don't. There's nothing there. You don't have to say please and thank you when you use AI. It is a powerful tool, but just like a hammer or a calculator, it's a specific tool meant for a specific task in general. So how AI learns, this is, this is an analogy that works pretty well for me, right? So everyone's had their own digital calculator, 2 + 2 = 4, right? So it doesn't do anything else, it calculates numbers. AI is like having an apprentice, right? You don't really give it any, instructions. You would give it examples of data that it can utilize to provide information back to you, or develop software, or create it, whatever. But basically, it's a pattern recognition by and large in a situation. So we're going to go back just a little bit where it kind of originated in the 50s. Alan Turing, probably heard of the Turing test to see if something's sentient or not. That's that guy. And he had the simple question: can computers think? Am I loud enough for you guys? Yeah. If you do like this, you need me to raise my voice again. I'm naturally a quiet talker.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'll try to, but it's not a habit for me.
You think you're yelling?
Yeah. Yeah, my hearing's pretty good, so it's like, wow, man, I'm too loud. So Turing came up with that term, started wondering about, can machines think? And in '56, scientists at Dartmouth held a summer conference, basically a workshop, and they officially came up with the term artificial intelligence. Allegedly, at Dartmouth in 1956, that's where the term was formed. And their goal was to build, machines that use language, form concepts, and solve problems, right? Instead of just like 2 + 2 = 4, and so on. They wanted to take it a little further. However, what they wanted to do was not met by the amount of technology we had available to us at the time. There just simply wasn't enough computing power, nothing even closely resembling enough computer power at the time. So that was the 60s and the 70s. One of my favorite movies, 2001: A Space Odyssey, you had Al in there, this, sentient computer that was, messing around a little bit, but the reality is the computer system powerful. A couple of other real things that they tried was Eliza. In the chatbot, you just would, I'd say hi, and it would say hi back, hello, hello. It really was pretty simple. Another example was Shaky, this robot that literally took minutes and minutes and minutes just to cross. Really, 60s and 70s weren't doing this any favors. Then, there's kind of this AI winter of the 70s. And one thing I want to just point out is each time, including when they came up with the term, artificial intelligence in Dartmouth, everybody got excited, they threw money at it, let's do it, and it fizzled out, right? It was, you probably remember the dot-com bust, boom, bust, right? Similar kind of thing, but more of a micro. It happened really fast, got some money really quickly before it happened. That happened 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It was a recurring theme for quite some time. Everybody get all excited about some new development, throw a bunch of venture capital into it, and then lose. You know, in the seventies and eighties, Star Trek, like I said, promised Star Trek like, you know, technologies, but, you know, again, the computers are still far too weak, right? The Brents had no books to read at the time of brain. Funding again dried up, people got cynical, and the entire field just froze up for a couple of decades. Then in the nineties, Deep Blue was Kasparov, you know, the chess game, right? That was when all of a sudden, hey, we're getting technology closer to what we need, and we're learning to program better. And, hey, this was, she didn't really think though yet. You know, really didn't think it was just really good at pattern matching, right? Which is a really different thing than what I'm talking about. Pattern matching, while technically it is AI, it's not what we would fully consider, you know, full AI. But it was back, you know, AI was back after the, you know, the Ice Age, and we kept going. So why is AI everywhere now? Right? What happened? The long and short of it is there's several factors, but the main ones are the internet. Right now, there's all these, like, you know, like it says in my example, you know, instead of just a couple of thousand pictures of cats, it's now got millions of pictures of cats that can use to generate patterns and repetition and so on. More powerful computers, obviously. The really interesting thing is that the graphic processing unit, you all heard of a CPU, but then there's also, especially gaming computers, a powerful GPU. And as it turned out, GPUs were well suited towards doing AI tasks. They're plentiful, you know, it's a thing, right? So it's like, oh, now these chips are better for it than the other chips. So that kind of is another reason it's growing. And then also, you know, we've obviously advanced the computer science to the point that we can take advantage of the new power computers. So, and one of the primary things is deep learning, the ability to take huge data sets and make them presentable in an algorithm that artificial intelligence can use to produce results or queries or so forth. I don't really talk about it too many technical details, but those are called LLMs, or large language models. You've probably heard that phrase better than that's basically what I'm talking about. It's a lot of data that's put into a model of a large language model. It's kind of, LLMs are a crucial part of almost all AI. And of course, you guys probably know you're already using it. If you're using email, you have a spam folder. Virtually all spam folders are AI driven. They're pattern recognition, but nonetheless. If you're on Netflix or Hulu, and it recommends something to you, that's an AI operation. That's looking at your viewing patterns and recommending things. I live by it. I'm kind of ignorant now. I get lost about it. I don't have my phone to pull up the map, you know, and the map sometimes will reroute you as you're making traffic and so on. That's another example of AI you're probably already using without really paying too much attention. And of course, you know, Siri, Alexa, and Google, you say, hey, Google, you say, hey, Google, or, you know, Alexa, or Siri, hey, Siri, what have you. That's an AI application. That's using a few different things. One of them is, you know, pattern recognition, understanding what you're saying to it, right? And then interpreting what you're saying and then gathering data or taking action. So it's kind of a pretty sophisticated piece of AI. And so that breaks it down to, okay, so there are tools out there, you know, that you can use. I primarily stick to just a few of them because if you hop from the next thing to the new old shiny, you'll never get good at it, right? So my advice there is just pick something and go out there and stick it and explore it fully before going and moving on. And know that every one of them has their own little quirks and features. And I don't want to say personalities of people, but they are personalities. And so, like I mentioned before, one of the AI tools you're probably already using is, you know, something that would be a spotter email it's simply the algorithm will look at the message and say, is it spam, yes or no? If it goes in my inbox, then my spam.
None of this is done locally, it's all done.
Well, not necessarily. There are, there's an amount of this activity that will take place on a local device, your phone, your computer, embedded devices like a ring doorbell or something may have some built-in AI capabilities, and then other bits of it are done on top. Siri, Alexa, Google, those are cloud operations, right? But strictly speaking, if you're so inclined, you can bring the LLM, the large language model, download it to your desktop or laptop computer and run it locally. Can be not typical, but it's certainly the new AI creator, right, which is, the old was the slaughter, and I said the chess AI, that was a slaughter, it just recognized it. But the new one is more widely known as generative AI, meaning it actually can create new things. But this example, I should do, somewhat running. For me, it's more like create a program so I can monitor the floods that are going on and know what route to take. That's what I want. So it's not just text, of course, it's image creation, audio creation, and video creation. Everybody's probably seen a bunch of fake videos out there. I've been, one of my daughters and I send videos back and forth, and you're gonna think I'm so juvenile, but one of the fun things, and this is gonna sound really bad about me anyway, I've been making newsreel style videos of dogs and cats sleeping together where one of them will pass gas on the other, And it's pretty fun, but.
Sounds funny. Show us one.
Maybe. Maybe if we have. So you can do a lot of really fun stuff. I mostly with video. So there's a few things, AI beyond the obvious. And we'll kind of get into a moment of dangers here, but personalized health is a thing. Being able to look at various health information that you're willing to share with an algorithm. We maybe suggest, maybe you haven't exercised in a while, and do some exercise tips on how to get around back up. Suggesting healthy routines and what have you. And there is, I think, some very bright spots, and certainly people are examining medical things like MRIs and CT scans and stuff like that. But AI going over it again, they're finding it is spotting some missing things, so that's pretty cool. Right? And that's a really interesting thing to watch. The environment, using AI to track salmon, monitor forest health, and so on. That's a pretty cool application. And just as an aside, that when AI computer scientists talk about what they call general AI, that's what they're talking about. It's something like a bunch of sensors around the entire planet, maybe just temperature, maybe what have you, but it's a global collection of a particular kind of data that can only be used in conjunction with each other. That's general AI, where you expanded the reach to the entire globe, basically. So there's all sorts of benefits in that, but I won't keep this is an aside. When you start doing things like monitoring forest health, you're venturing into something called general AI. Accessibility, this is what I try to work on with my 93-year-old mom, whose eyesight is failing with an Alexa device, trying to get her to, make it easier for her to call and tell the television what to play and things of that nature. Smart hearing aids. And another one that I really wanted to get for my mom is the glasses that can read text. Those are available today. They're a little spendy, a little bit, but 6 months from now, those are pretty cool. And by that I mean it looks at it like if I was to look at the screen here, and focus on a certain area. I get these little green boxes and I can tap the head piece and it will read that text. My mom can't read text on the screen anymore. This will be useful for her. I think that's pretty cool. Then, you know, if we can get her to use it, probably, you know, I'll tell her what the buttons on the right side, and she'll be, but it's not working, you know. You know, so, again, advanced diagnostics, that's some pretty positive development in AI, and that just keeps getting better all the time. You know, a global connection to be able to live translate, you know, I mean, sure, you can use Google Translator or try to learn a few words if you have Spanish or Russian or whatever it is, but hey, you know, having a tool that you can just have a quick conversation with somebody, pretty handy. Yeah, you know, this slide, I left it in after I made it because self-driving cars are going to freak me out. But it is potentially, like, let's say I had a broke leg or something, self-driving car can come up, pick me up, take me to a doctor appointment, where I couldn't actually, you know, work the clutch or what have you. No, okay, we are not looking at you with your ankle. But, you know, still, you know, there is potential for increasing independence for people that have mobility issues. So, I'll talk just briefly about the creating or generative AIs. There's ChatGPT, it's kind of the brainstormer. It's good for, you know, I've got such and such in the kitchen, what can I make, you know, or, oh no, what did I do with it? Well, anyways, it's really good if you want to like I started to write a science fiction novel, and I use it to help me understand how to develop a character plot. You know, because I don't know, I want to do this, but I don't know how. And so I use it to work with me and ask me questions to get me into how to develop a character. Gemini, the planner, I think I mentioned that I wanted to make a thing to watch an AI thing to watch the floods and the roads, what's opening, what's the predictions, what's the road, all in conjunction. And I can demonstrate it a little later if you want to see it. But the point is, I use Gemini, Google Gemini, because it has access to maps and all the other kind of, you know, data that go along trying to figure those things out. So Gemini is pretty good for that kind of stuff. And then there's Claude, the storytelling. You know, it's really a little better than ChatGPT for doing this kind of thing, but all of these tools will do all of the things. I ended up doing my character arc in ChatGPT, and Claude, I actually had to teach me how to. I'll use this example, but it's a little weird. As I'm a telephone system administrator, I want to allow customers to call in, authenticate over the phone, and say, hey, change the name of extension 104 to Boston, or whatever. Just simple move that and changes to the telephone system. I use Claude to teach me how to program all the bits. Anyway, they all are somewhat equal in a certain sense, but they have a little different flavors. I probably should have come up with different examples I use for each because I'm a little weird. So, yeah.
Okay, that's a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, I use almost one thing that confuses me. I use almost like call it a car model, like ChatGPT is Gemini is a model, etc. And I know that Gemini is created by people, but I'm not sure how others can are there global.
Oh, there absolutely. There's thousands of different things like this. And as I mentioned earlier, even though there are thousands of them, there's always the new shiny almost every day. I think if you choose one of these three and just kind of mess with it a little bit, they're all have free tiers available. It's a pretty good starting point. And you can actually use any one of these three tools to say, hey, I want to do X, right? Which AI tool should I use? And if it thinks, and it's usually pretty accurate, if it thinks, you know what, this other one would be better for this task, then you go do that. Yes.
So I've been using ChatGPT for editing grant requests and that sort of thing. Have to get it down to a certain level. The question is, if you use one of these for a while, do they get to know you? Do they learn about you?
Yeah.
And help apply
Yeah,
your angle at
Yeah.
what they're doing, no matter what's happening?
yeah, pretty much, I'm gonna touch on that. So, especially in the free tiers, whatever you type, they got it. If you upload images and say edit this image, they got it, right? There are downsides to all this, of course, right? And that's a very good point, that's one of them. I personally don't care, you know, and if I do care, you can do it, don't use it. There is ways to have it not used. For example, the corporate policy of the company, Techmetric, I work at, we were Google users, we use Google Workspace, and on our Gemini, they don't get anything with me, right? Now, our stuff doesn't learn, but that's okay, because we're not uploading a bunch of our, private, protected information here over AI.
I've been using the free version. You can say there's a free and then different tiers and pay for it.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of the reason that you pay for it is for additional processing capacity. You probably never run into this, but if you ask enough questions or upload enough images or try to make so many videos, it cuts you off for the day. You only get so many tries at these things. When you pay for, you get more tries. And depending on the service, you may also get the ability to make your stuff private too. Sometimes you have to pay for it. So, yeah, it's a very good point. New water bottle, I haven't really figured this one out yet. Last thing I want to do is wear it. And it's, of course, probably can't see it, but it's just Google, it's a Google. I participate in studying AI study groups with Google, and so they send me all this stuff all the time. The only thing I keep is water bottles. Yeah, I probably should say, you want to kick down a little money or something instead of all these. But I learned from it anyway. So now off into the dark side, and I segue from your position. So, okay, this is a big problem, and we'll maybe solve it, I don't know, but this rush to AI is causing water problems, electrical grid problems, ecosystem problems, and increased carbon emissions where they use something other than hydroelectric or solar or wind to generate electricity. In Washington State, we're primarily, I don't want to say we're primarily hydro because unfortunately different styles of producing electricity get fed into our electrical stream. So it's not purely hydro, but some nuclear, natural gas, probably even some coal-fired stuff. So, and then here's the other thing, I don't say this in the slide, right? But imagine this, right? They built this huge $3 billion data center wherever, right? And when they do it, they install basically server racks of computers. And in 5 years, what about all those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of servers in that data center? They're obsolete, right? So I'll just say this, if you're an investor and you're investing in AI stuff, be kind of careful because the stuff that makes it go needs to get upgraded every so often. And generally in computer science, 5 years is the rotation. Right? So that's another problem. So that's going to be a huge amount of environmental waste. I don't know, recycling all that stuff is nasty. But anyway, so yeah, there's a problem with that because the increased amount of electrical use and water consumption because they have to cool these data centers as well, right? So yeah, it's a double hit. It's not frankly that good. So here's the other thing. there's been a rise of AI-powered scams targeting seniors, right? And frankly, the phishing trap email messages and text messages, that's in everybody, it's not just seniors, but it targets seniors specifically, and you have to be pretty careful about, is this a real message or isn't it? So that's one thing you gotta take away, and then the other, the relative call. So for better or worse, you can take anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds of voice from somebody, like if you got a hold of somebody's message on a voicemail, you can take that, run it through an algorithm basically, and have it make a voice. I can take Judy and call Britta and say, oh, I need $100, right? And it would sound just like you. And the thing is,
That's real.
what?
That's real. I'm kidding.
Oh, well, I mean, we could crowdsource it and get there like 5 calls a day. Anyway, but that's a real thing that's going on, right? Now, frankly, there are uses, positive uses for that. For example, I'm going to do some training videos, and I want to look like me standing up and talking about something. Well, I can allow the program to record my voice and my face, and then using prompts, I can tell it, okay, give this lesson. Right? Well, I mean, and I've actually done it a couple of times. It's not that hard, believe it or not. And it's much easier than we put the camera up here and trying to record something. Oh, it's stumbling, starting over, and stumbling, starting over. So, but this like, particularly, you gotta watch out phishing traps, email messages, SMS, text messages, it's on the increase, and the relative call, that one is nasty. So, the key here on this one, because there is a defense on the voice one, then your family group develop a safe one. Believe it or not, I know it's terrible that we have to go to that extent, but it is a way to defend ourselves a little bit. I think mine's going to be duck little this, but anyway. So I would encourage you, if you have, to do something like that, to consider it. And so if it seems like somebody's called and it seems very vague, what do you need me to send you money for? What's the secret word? Duck little okay, here's, I'm going to get my whatever.
Wouldn't they have to have access to your account information also, if you could cloning your voice in order to get you to send money? Okay, because
Okay,
somebody says, send me money by Zelle, okay, they'd have to know, I have to know what
no,
account.
they wouldn't do something like that. They'd say, oh, listen, I got a bill I have to pay, can you send it to PayPal at this address or something like that. They wouldn't use a pre-existing. But there is probably someone out there hacking into those accounts, taking money and getting more money put in there for them to take. Certainly could happen. But the most likely thing is they'll get some other thing to send them money. All right, so we're off to the demo portion of it. Yeah, that's about it. So,
Hey, Robert, can I ask a question before you start down?
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about where these different chatbot, whatever they are, where do they get all their information? Because are they all pulling from different clumps of sources of information or programs? How's that work?
Well, they all do go about it in a slightly different method, but so there's a couple of ways. One, they start out fresh with just a small data set, and then you start asking them questions and scoring the answers, saying, oh yeah, that's a good answer, that's a bad answer, and it grows kind of organically, right, for specific realm. The other is they're just scouring the entire internet for everything they can find. Pictures,
They all
videos,
do that
text.
same.
Yeah, they may not all gather the exact same data, but that modus operandi, that is true of all of them.
Have there been some court cases where a company has acquired another company's data And then they soon say, okay, it's my data.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's an amount of data that is expected to be protected within a company, and if it gets out, right, that's bad. And yeah, there's been suits for that, for a lot of actors now are lowering up to, sue, like, OpenAI in particular for the Sora tool, where you can like have, you can put a celebrity face right on a, I don't know what, on a minute or writing it down, whatever, right? So some celebrities have just said, yeah, go ahead. I think Snoop Dogg just said, here, take it, what you want, right? For example, right? But a lot of us are already up and finding that. So, anyway, other questions? So I made a couple of, 5 demos. I'm gonna show you what, I'm not gonna go into the tool, I'm gonna show you what they generated first, and then, just for grins, I'll go with the very same prompt in one of the tools, and see if it even looks the same as the one I did yesterday. So I'm gonna do an image prompt and a video prompt. By the way, if you get into wanting to try to create images in any of these, or videos, or frankly anything, one of the things I tend to do is go into the basic tool, like if I'm going to do a Sora video, I go into ChatGPT and I ask it, how do I write me a prompt for Sora to get this general idea? And it does the detailed pieces of it, and I get much better results. So I cheat code it by going to the general questionnaire area and asking it to write me a prompt. Instead of spending, 5 minutes writing out the prompt myself, I ask AI to create the prompts for image creation and for video creation. These ones are just generic. So, all right, this is the image prompt, right? Here's the first one, that was general. It's actually pretty sweet. The scary bit about this is whose image is that? Whose art did I just steal? Right? I don't know if you can see it, but there's, I don't know, Tom Orca or something. Anyway, what the heck, right? So, I mean, if it was going to do that, it should be Robert Keller if I'm really stealing it. But anyway, that's not.
So that's not a composite, that's an actual image that it found.
I don't know.
Somebody's art.
I don't know. They might have just stolen this part of it. I don't know. Yeah, and it's also possible you don't care. Right? It could be open domain, creative commons, freely available artwork.
And make some company. You can make up names.
Yeah, you could just done that just to make it think, right?
That's an AI icon.
Yeah, that's
The
just an
Gemini.
icon. I leave it on there. Yeah.
Can take it off.
Yeah, I can hear it off. But I generally don't. I believe, and I do this at work too. I believe if you use AI, say, hey, I made this with AI. There's still a lot of people out there that are taking credit for stuff they it's not made. And it's like, well, it's that.
Is that one of the issues in terms of regulation that would be a requirement?
Watermark stuff.
Watermark stuff?
Yeah, it's emerging. I preemptively started doing that. In fact, even for internal presentations, if I completely AI it, I've got a little. I didn't make this icon. So that was that prompt, and
What was the other prompt?
oh. So, yeah, I'll get to the videos in just a sec, but then I ran it through, so just for argument's sake, Gemini uses their program for image creation, it's called Nano Banana Pro. It's weird, I'm going to change that, but that's what it is. And then ChatGPT is just created image and say that prompt. And that's the first one, from the same words that I got. I didn't really like that one too much, right? And so I did something called iteration. I went back to ChatGPT and said, hey, make it a little better. Basically, I said, make it sharper and more detailed. And it did. I actually think it's pretty nice now versus this. It's just kind of blurry and weird. So,
How long did it take, like a minute or two?
yeah, not long.
That's amazing.
I'll demonstrate one of them here in a second. So, and then the next one is the video prompt. The first one I'll show you will be Gemini. And they're probably spelled video, it doesn't matter, it's like. So here's from the prompt, what was made from, and it's weird. I mean, first of all, how does that fairy out work?
They just don't.
Yeah, you hop off, while they're going by.
Like a picture truck.
Yeah, exactly. Off you go. So that was Gemini, and then this next one is Sora. Same problem. See how the dock looks the same, but the ferry boat is just like completely goofy. Although that wouldn't be a bad one to have for us. Yeah. So and that ferry dock looks a little bit. So, and then here, I'm not going to go too deep into this one. I asked I got some salmon, some heavy cream potatoes. What can I do with this food, right? And there's the recipe for it. These aren't always the best recipes. However, sometimes they can be all right. I mean, we're all know how to cook. Read through it. And then in that case, you can correct it and go back and say, hey, you idiot, again, iterate, do some iteration, give further instructions to the AI tool to make it better. But yeah, but honestly, I have had a couple of recipes turn out pretty cool. I've also had, I'd say 2 out of 10 were really cool, 8 were like suspect. I didn't make them. Like, no, next. So I'll leave this up for a moment. One of the the reasons I wanted to do this is to also help raise money for some new pots and pans for the kitchen over there. So not necessary, it's a free event, but I am trying to raise money. Let's do this. Let me go back just for grants. I'm going to get the same prompt. I'm going to go to let's say create image. It doesn't give it time about how long it takes. And you can see data and Pro. It's probably next might be a little smaller here. It's reasonably quick. I don't have the yeah, there we go. It's a little different than the other one. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Yep, it's the same prompt, same tool, different day. That's that. Were there any other examples you'd like to see me demonstrate in AI? Would you like to see my flood tool? Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, what is the best route to my product? This isn't something I pre-programmed. It said, here are your sources of data: Skagit County, Whatcom County, the State Department posts the river level. And everything that gets scrubbed from Whatcom County is got related to flooding and road closures.
You told them that? or-
I can show you the set. I created something called an agent, an AI agent, that I set up to run a specific way and respond in a certain way to my questions. And all I really wanted was to be able to, last Friday, I was supposed to pick up my mom for a doctor appointment, and I got a sedan, right? So running through any kind of standing water not happening. So I waited until it looked like the boundary was or not the boundary, Lake Carroll was passable without driving through water. And I used the school. So I asked that question, and it come back, Kurt said, hey, look, Slater Road must be open. Just go to Slater Road, right? And if I had made that same question, probably as early as, I'm gonna say yesterday, it would drop me through either Ferndale Road or Inhofe Road or whatever. Go back to when it was really flooding, it sent me to, well, Lake Carroll Road was the only way I would have been able to go. So, anyways, that's something I did for myself. So I'll show you real quick what that looks like, right? So in Gemini, you can create these installed channels, which are, yeah, I won't go too deep into this, but I named it Salish Flood Watchdog. And remember my cheat code? I went into Gemini and said, hey, I want to create this channel, this agent to do these things. Help me write the instructions for that AI agent. So I didn't really have to think about it too much, to be honest. And that really, with these AI tools I mentioned, we reached that point where you frankly don't got to know that much. You just got to know to ask it the right question, and it'll give you. I mean, shoot, you can design a course to teach yourself something. You know, I kid you not. Once that course is designed, you can say, make this a website for me. You know. I mean, yeah, it's on and on, right? Or like for the Ghost Kitchen, I'll often do things and say, okay, make me a poster for biscuits and gravy or whatever it is, right? Put a little information in there, bada bing. I got this nice little poster. And I used to go into either Adobe Publisher or I had another program, Infinity Publisher, and lay out the poster. Oh, man, I'd be in there 45 minutes or something. Hour, you know, it's still not quite like it, but I can, in 30 seconds, I can ask one of these image generators to make the poster for me. It does a much better job and it's quick. So, yeah, so that's.
And how do you get into that? Is it to build your?
To build a gem. Well, I logged into Gemini, and then you can see here, there's a section called gems.
Okay.
And, yeah, I just said, make a new gem. Put it here, new gem. And again, if you have a question about something like that, ask the AI tool you're using, hey, I want to do an agent or a gem. What tools do I use? How do I do that? Help me write the instructions. And they're all running. Let's see. Show it. So that I made for down the Ghost Kitchen. I have a TV that shows the menu and whatnot, and does other little advertising. I made the biscuits and gravy stuff size to go on the TV. And again, like 35, 40 seconds.
So now, if you wanted to copy like that, okay?
Oh,
You would get an email, 500 words or more with a copyright on it. And it would say, okay, you have to tell us what part of this was made by AI, how AI was used to generate the image, okay?
Yeah.
Can they tell if you submit it without the little icon?
Well,
Can they tell if you use
without the
AI
water.
or?
Yeah, probably.
How would they do that?
Well, if it were me, the first thing I would do would look at that plate and notice there's no fruit on it.
Okay.
That'd be a dead giveaway, right? I didn't care. This was close enough. I put that, But things of that nature. First of all, you know, unless you can prove it was your original art, you weren't gonna get, copy. You're not gonna get copy. You know, it's so hard now. That's kind of one of the other dangers, you know, it makes it a legitimate artist. They now have to kind of go through extra trouble just to say, hey, this is authentic, right? That's, you know, kind of a bummer. Right? So, but that was, you know, just an example of something. And, okay, so this, you guys want to see the story, the dog story?
That's what I came for.
All right, let's see if I can get it on this computer.
Robert, do you just log into their websites or do you download them as an app?
Both. For the most part, the ones I showed, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, I use the web version of it. Well, I also, Claude, I use the desktop version too, but mostly the web version.
Sora is with ChatGPT or?
Oh, OpenAI, it's a part of it. Let's see if I can get it. Maybe not. See what happens. No, this might work here. Well, it kind of looks like it don't. Okay.
Reporting unusual, residents on Lummi Island are reporting unusual animal behavior. What's raised concern is the consistency. Animals appear to be reacting to each other. Some residents believe it's environmental, others believe it's older than that. No official explanation has been offered. Residents on Lummi Island are reporting unusual.
So,
The city.
Good evening. Residents on Lummi Island are reporting a rise in unusual animal behavior.
The city incidents appear unprovoked.
yeah, I don't know what's wrong here. Why is it draft?
What started as isolated reports is beginning to show a pattern. Some residents believe.
So, anyway, so the thing to point out with that particular one, I mentioned earlier, I can have AI learn my voice and learn my face. Yeah, I didn't post any of that, did yeah.
It's recognizing animals. Mimicking.
Yeah, it's the feature in Sora, it's called a cameo. You go in and you turn your head to one side to the other side, and you read a couple of paragraphs about jungle. And you go on and make notes of that. I've had a lot of fun with that. And I don't just do animal farting.
Well, you should, you're a pro at it. There's a change careers now.
Yeah.
So do you pay for that, or is it?
You know, it's free to do. I do have a paid account. Actually, my work gives me it's kind of cool. I get a budget every month to purchase. They give us Gemini, and then I get to expense Claude and ChatGPT. So, but you can do most of it. Most of it is free. Yeah.
But I don't know if this is what you intended to talk about tonight, but this is the big issue ahead. When machines can make decisions on their own.
Yes and no. It depends on the safety rails that are in place when we reach that point.
And don't you have to get an agreement from the international community, businesses, whatever, to put these rails on?
Yeah.
And so far, there doesn't seem to be, the way our world is sort of working together these days, it's not very promising.
Well, you're right. I mean, it's probably both as bad as we think it could be, or potentially, or we'll actually start to learn to get along with each other better, and we'll get those. It's going to go one of the two ways. And the thing is, I kind of feel that if it starts to go bad, we won't have enabled access to these things that we decided upon to such a far extent that we're, it'll be like Terminator, machines turn against us.
We don't need humans.
Yeah, I kind of doubt that we're gonna reach that. I think that, even the basic safety rails that are in place now are enough to let us know, hey, this is going down a dark path. You can't walk up to any of this stuff, open plug. But it is a danger. It's a legitimate danger. But
Well, I mean, look at the social media companies who have been, as we are learning, somewhat trained for their consumers,
oh, absolutely.
for their own financial benefit. And they resist being regulated because it's going to compromise their financial results.
Yeah.
So how does that not replicate when it comes to AI?
Well, until AI is doing that now, right? I mean, that's behind a majority of the social platform algorithms that do some of the more nefarious activities, the targeting. We just gotta hope that people can continue to, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe, I'm an optimist. I think we'll, as humans, wise up a little bit here, as time goes on. Maybe I'm way too optimistic, but I probably, but I'm still gonna think that anyway, it's either I'm right or I just need to stick my head in the sand like an ostrich, one or two. But I don't know. I've seen some encouraging signs. A lot of, that's a good question. I'm not sure about.
Well, I'm an optimist too. I mean, I want to think the best. In fact, the applications of healthcare are extraordinary. And the impact on employment over the near term is quite the kid.
Yeah, but there's a thing about that though, right? So the computer science field, right, and that's where, any kind of computer job, those are the ones that are gonna kind of, there'll be some robotics, but we've had robotics for a while, that can, handle jobs later. In the computer field, whether you're using it as a surveyor out in the field or a programmer, first of all, programmers are starting to kind of lean back and using AI to program their stuff. Because they're ending up having to take too much time to debug what the AI wrote, make it work using to begin with. That's kind of happening right now. That'll smooth out, and AI will actually get good at coding at some point. But my opinion is, it's just like another tool, like Word or Excel or a Chrome web browser. If you're a computer user, this is just another tool that you can use to do things. Like Photoshop, that was all, for years the hotness for image manipulation and creation. Now it's a new thing. AI image manipulation. Yes, it takes a lot of skill, but to be honest, still you have to have an artistic eye to get artistic results, I think. So, what people that work under me, my ethic with them is learn tools. And keep your jobs, basically,
We can get back to education. A lot of colleges are now realizing they got to embrace this thing. They got to work with it.
Yeah.
Because their students and their colleagues are going to grab it and do with it. I'll just say one more thing. My son-in-law is a professor of music at a college in California. And he is now putting everything that he does, he's putting available to his students without having to be there. But what his intent is that now he can be available to his individual students in a more, individual way, because he's not having to, spend his time doing some of the other things that are somebody else can help him do. So that to me is a positive application.
Yeah.
But he said there's some of the profs who are just going to do it and stay home.
Yeah, so that's exactly the point, right? There's a little bit of a plague of professors doing exactly that. And in a seek for profit margin, school administration is kind of letting them get away with it as well. And so, yeah, that is a problem. You know, and I don't know. Well, I'm sure all of us at some point in our life was able to pull out a map, you know, a paper map and read it, right? Well,
I don't remember.
yeah, it's a thing, right? I mean, these days, you know, people, people just don't have those skills, right? And because they can go to Google Maps or what have you. And like spelling, I don't know about you all, but my spelling ability to spell correctly has gotten worse with the advent of spell check. Right? And, you know, there's a really great documentary called Idiocracy, right? And that's not really a documentary, it's a, you know, comedy, but it dang well ought to be a documentary because it shows the effects of reliance on technology to, you know, be your brain. You know, and we're seeing it now, I think, and we'll see it more with AI. You know, that's true of a lot of different things. But again, my positive outlook on it is, don't worry about your job. Learn to use these tools to do your job better. And Bob's your uncle. I mean, you know, for my field, I'm not too worried about employment, you know, opportunities. I mean, I have got some wood to knock on, because I'll tell the story, but, this looks like woodish.
Yeah, good enough.
There we go. Just a little over a year ago, a company I'd been at for 15 years got laid off. The company I'm at now reached out to me basically the very next day and said, hey, come work for us. Partially because I had been publishing a little bit about my experiences with AI. I mean, that's a prime example. I've kind of leaned into it, and it's made me really employable versus, you know, not worth having. So anyway, in my field, you got to do it. Any other questions?
Who developed those three?
Well, Google, Gemini, OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT, Sora, and Claude. You know, I'm not certain. I almost want to say it's Meta or Facebook or behind Claude, but they're not. Theirs is Grok. I don't know who did Claude, honestly. That's a good question. I don't know.
What's his face? Twitter.
X is Grok.
The previous. Oh, you mean Elon Musk? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought
yeah, that's wrong.
them.
Meta AI is just Meta AI. I think it has a fancy name, maybe. I really do just focus on those three I mentioned, you know, and try not to get my head into too much more because it just, you know, I don't want to learn these three different things, you know. But I do use them interchangeably a little bit. Last bit, as I mentioned, I am trying to raise money for pots and pans, so if you scan that code, it will take you to the page, and there's a little donation jar there. You could, I'll post the link on the Nextdoor later if people want to, you know, chip in a little bit. You don't have to. Yeah, I went to Costco they gave us a gift card to purchase pans with. And,
$50.
huh?
$50.
$50, yeah.
That was a long way, isn't it?
Yeah. And I didn't really care for the pans they had in there. So I'm gonna, you know, see if we can scrape up some more funds and get the commercial grade ones that they have. I'll have to order them online. But anyway, otherwise I wouldn't even try it. So, without much further ado, folks, that's the hour. Huh?
Gonna do another thing like this, maybe?
Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Would you do a workshop, like if we could bring our individual laptops, devices, and then you could guide us into exploring the.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a
That would be
good
really
idea.
cool, I mean.
Yeah.
You did
We'll crash our bandwidth in a minute of seconds.
Right, that's pretty good.
No, I know.
Yeah, but we'll heat up some data centers.
I thought about that.
Yeah, well, that's okay, you know, I can go plant a tree. I don't know, offsets and
Bill Gates and a number of other people are funding fusion reactor research now.
yeah.
You can't even buy stock in that company. It's privately held.
All right, whew, yeah, that's,
Ooh, that's a thing though.
Like, that's it.
Only one that
I'm telling you,
only one
real
of the
estate
10
company
companies.
and all these big REITs, real estate investment trusts that were privately held and then sold to make money so that anybody could invest in our properties. Well, now realtors are just taking all those back. I mean, small people